when he comes to line up tomorrow, there's a flag directly opposite in your line of vision recording a world record the last time he raced at this facility. So Donavan Brazier, what are your prospects tomorrow? What will satisfy you? And you can take your mask off for the questions. Thank you.
I appreciate that. For tomorrow, I don't know what I'm looking for. Every time I go into a race, I'm just kind of looking to do my best. And 2 weeks ago, I was supposed to race Arkansas, but I had a COVID exposure. Luckily, I didn't get it, but I was exposed to COVID, so I wasn't actually allowed to race. So that was supposed to be like my gauge race to see where I'm at this time of year. But since I didn't get the opportunity to race there, I feel like this meet's going to kind of be what 2 weeks was supposed to be.
Thanks, Donavan. I'll hand over straight to the journalist. I think, Dave, you were pretty quick to get your hand up there. So Dave Monty, if you want to go first.
Hey, Donavan, how are you?
Good, how you doing?
Good. The last time you were on that track in Staten Island, as Jeff pointed out, you ran a terrific time. Most pro athletes don't spend much time at that facility. What do you think about that track, and are you excited to race on it? Thanks.
Yeah, I'm very excited to race on it. It's a beautiful track, beautiful facility. It's obviously a fast track. You know, we had a thing run fast there, you know, just a couple races before mine. She was just off a world best too. But I like racing there more than I think most indoor tracks. I think Milrose might be my favorite indoor track, but this is probably my second favorite indoor track. But no, it's a good facility. It's got a good warm-up facility. It's got a fast track, obviously, and I'm excited to race on it.
Larry, you had your hand up as well.
Donavan, was sad to not see a race last week, but understand you got to stay safe. How did the extra week of training, did Pete and you come up with some fancy workouts to get you ready for this one?
I kind of had to quarantine for the next like 5 days after that because of the exposure.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we had to get a little creative. Like I wasn't able to hit the weight room. I wasn't able to go to the treadmills, which I love doing treadmill running for like most of my runs. So I was stuck to being inside the hotel room, just trying to get core, just trying to do any kind of plyometric work I could possibly do. And then I was in Arkansas of all places too, so I was stuck with the cold weather. So with the limited amount of clothes and limited amount of space I had, I guess I made do.
Follow-up question. The last time I talked to you, I think you told me your longest run was about 8 miles. What is Pete got you out to in terms of a long run since then?
I've accidentally ran about 8.4 before.
Okay,
so
all right.
Around 8, I got the extra 0.4 in with Eric. We got lost out in Phoenix one time, but no, 8.4 is my new peak.
Cool.
Jonathan?
Hey, Donovan. So you're running the 800 tomorrow, and I'm sure you saw Bryce Hoppel came close to your American record 2 weeks ago in Arkansas, but he's in 1,000 in this meet. Do you wish you were racing Bryce tomorrow?
In the 1,000, I'm not too sure, but I've never really ran a great 1,000. I'm not really too into the 1,000. The 8 possibly, just to kind of see and gauge where I'm at. But a lot of the guys that were not a lot of the guys, but I guess Eric was in the race too that he was in 2 weeks ago. So, you know, there's a lot of good guys to race in. I think it'll still be a fast field, but I don't think I'm really itching to race anybody or not race anybody this early in the season because sometimes indoors can be like fool's gold. You just got to make sure that it's like a stepping stone into outdoors. So mainly focused on that.
Dave?
Donovan, can you give us your thoughts on David Rudisha's world record and what a towering mark that is and how having that out there maybe helps you stay a little bit more motivated? Thanks.
Yeah, it's definitely, I was actually never really a big track athlete, like a nerd when it came to like the track athletes and all the athletes that came from me. David Rudisha was obviously one of the guys that stuck out to me back in 2012. I think a lot of people can agree when it was probably one of the most beautiful races they've ever seen in their entire life. Just the way he ran it, and you know, the time on top of that at the perfect stage to do it on was amazing. But I think David Rudisha is still better than that 140.9. I think is the crazy part about it. So the 140.9, I believe, is an attainable goal for not only me but many other 800-meter athletes. But it's just got to be a special moment. It's the right time and right place to do it. But I'm hoping that eventually I can get there someday.
Tom?
Yeah, Donovan, Tokyo is kind of sneaking up on us here. To what extent have you been following kind of the drip of news coming out of Japan? And when you kind of envision competing this summer, what does that experience kind of look like? What do you think it will be like?
I don't know, because I don't have any Olympics to base it off of. So, if it's going to be comparable to Rio or anyone before then, I'm not sure. But, I think I'm just like every other athlete that we're planning as if it's going ahead. And I think we're more confident this year that it's going to happen than I think last year when it came March or so. But, we can only do what's in our control. But for the most part, it seems like they're doing everything they possibly can to make sure it's going to happen. So, I think our plan is still directed at that. How they're going to do it, how it's going to play out, I'm not really sure. But, I'm not on the IOC board, so I don't know how they work out.
Jonathan?
Hey, Donovan, I'm also curious, 2 weeks from now, you're entered in the 1500 at this meet in Austin. And I know you said in the past, you're not really a huge fan of racing the 1500 a mile. So I'm curious, why are you doing that event? What are you hoping to accomplish out there in Texas?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the 1500. I'd rather be a 400 meter runner. And, when I joined Pete up in Oregon, he said, I know you're a 4.8 guy, you're going to run more 4s and 8s. He totally lied, because I've ran way more 15s at this point. This will be my third 15 with him. And I've so far ran 0 4s, so he's a liar. But I'm thinking that my fitness should hopefully be decent by then, and using this race as a gauge to see where I should be at for the 15. Because it's a pretty deep field too, with Central, Willis, Josh Thompson, I think might be in there. Jager's going to be in there. So it's going to be a lot of good competition. And for the 15, it feels like a little less pressure because I'm like the guy that thinks he's a sprinter. So, it's not as big of a, it's not as like nerve-wracking to run 15, I guess, right now.
Larry?
So Donovan, last weekend, Nick Willis and one of his young athletes, Hobbs Kessler, had something remarkable. Hobbs, a Michigan kid, broke the high school record for the mile. You were one of those high school phenoms, and then you became a pro after, a year in college. What would you tell Hobbs where he's at right now? What advice would you offer him about the heady atmosphere he's in right now and how to keep it in perspective?
Yeah, I just hope he's having fun. I think that's the main thing. I mean, even up until the most fun I ever had running was still like high school, because it was just so, I want to say easy, but just like the friends group you had back there and just kind of the nerve, like it wasn't really that much pressure in high school to run. But I really hope that he's having fun with it, because if you're not having fun at that kind of age, he's probably like 18 years old or so, and if he wants to have a good collegiate and professional career for another 10 or 12 years, if you're not having fun at the age of 18, you're definitely not going to like it in your mid 20s or so. I found myself in like droughts before where it's like I just don't enjoy the sport, and it directly reflects like your results and stuff like that. But no, I'm really happy for him. He's a Michigan guy too, and I keep saying like everybody argues like who has the best like high school people come out of high school. And they always say like Florida or Texas, Cali, like Virginia. I was like, Michigan's up there too. Like Michigan has a lot of good people that have came out of there too. And I think he's just kind of solidifying that as well. But no, I'm happy to see him run fast. I just hope he's having fun.
Cool. Thank you.
David? You're on mute.
Sorry, Donovan, did you say that you really like running on the treadmill, that the treadmill is something that you enjoy?
Yeah, I love running on the treadmill. Like if I have to crank out like a 45-minute run, I'd like to go on the treadmill if the opportunity was there, but I'd like to do most of my runs on the treadmill.
Jonathan?
Yeah, so Donovan, this is your third year now under Pete Julian. And I'm curious what are the biggest changes that you've undergone since you've been training with him? Like, what is the biggest difference between Donavan Brazier right now and Donavan Brazier of 2 years ago?
I think a lot of it's just maturity. I'm not trying to take anything away from Pete in his training. Obviously, it's worked really, really well, both of us combined. But I think, being from college and being around college athletes and training around them to a professional group, that was out in Oregon. It was just kind of, I really had to prove myself. I was being thrown into a bigger pond with bigger fish. It's easy to be a big fish in a little pond in A&M, but I felt like once I moved up and kind of out of my comfort zone, it really gave me more opportunity to grow. And being with teammates like Craig and Eric, and Charlie's out there now, it helps out a lot.
Larry, is that another question or hand still up?
Another question, sorry. So Donovan, you were talking about how good runners are in Michigan. for a while, P. Diddy followed me on Twitter, and he would send me track geek notes. And one of them was, he told me to check out Eminem. And I found out that Eminem, I think, took 4th in your state meet in Michigan in the 800. I think he ran 154.3 or 154.4. That's just, off the stuff. But the real question is this. How has Pete Julian changed your view of your running and your confidence in your running?
I think my training has never been easier, to be fair. Like training with Pete's actually not, I'm not saying all workouts are easy, but like our training is just so much easier. Back when I was at A&M, we kind of hammer things like all the time, but with Pete, I feel like I'm getting the proper amount of rest, and there's never really a day in practice where I'm just like maxing out, where it's feel like I got everything out of me I possibly can. So it's just kind of managing my fitness opposed to like getting excited about where he thinks I might be at and feeling like he has to validate that with a good workout or possibly a good race. And then being around just the guys, I can't put enough emphasis on that. Like if I did not have Eric and Craig in that group, like I definitely wouldn't be where I'm at. Like they're what makes it fun, they're what makes it enjoyable to go on the track every single day. So that's been the biggest change for me, is just kind of really enjoying and kind of have some sort of team orientation with our group when it comes to travel and when it comes to meets and stuff like that.
That's one way to name drop, Larry. I'm conscious of timing, so I see Andrea, you've got one question, and we'll get you in there first.
Actually, I don't know if this is proper, but Jeff Benjamin has been challenged by the hand raising as well as I was earlier. And so I'm just deferring to him because Jeff Benjamin is dying to ask a question.
Andrea, thank you very much. I owe you a Staten Island pizza if you ever get out here. Donovan, welcome back to Staten Island. My question to you is the fact that, you've been training hard, you've been dedicated, you're very relaxed, as I could see. You really backed off your training this past week, you could argue. Psychologically, do you really feel like you are ready to race tomorrow?
Do I feel like I'm ready to race tomorrow?
Yeah, like
I mean, I want to be here.
single drive, let's say, first meet back, you rested up inadvertently, do you really feel you are ready to go?
Yeah, I'm very, very excited. You can't tell by my voice. I'm so excited. I'm excited. I'm bummed to be here, but just I guess staying relaxed before the races. But it like I said, it's the first meet back since the Staten Island indoors in 2019. So I'm excited to be back here. I'm excited to race. We have a good field, fast track, really good competition all the way around that my agency's been able to put on. So I'm really, really excited to race.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Eric, I'll give that one to you, and then I know that Rye is already getting ready and he has to go to training after this. So Eric, last one for you.
Thanks, Michelle. Donovan, I didn't have a chance to ask you a couple of weeks ago in the lead up to Arkansas, and obviously this young woman has only done more since then and kind of ties in with you in Staten Island in 2019 as well. It's hard to impress at Texas A&M, especially as a freshman. But what's your reaction to what Athing has been able to do, in the pantheon of, Jasmine and Sammy and you and Devin? I mean, obviously it's pretty incredible. So how have you reacted or responded to that?
Yeah, it's remarkable. I mean, when she opened up with that 201, I was like, oh, I can relate to that, Sammy, or not Sammy, excuse me, the thing. We both ran really fast times early January, just have fun with it, keep doing what you're doing, good job. And then she goes the next week and runs a really good 600. I was like, okay, yeah, that's really, really good. Congrats again. And then she goes out and runs that 50 point. I was like, you're light years ahead of where I was at A&M. I cannot relate to you. You're on a different level. You're doing things that I never imagined a freshman could do at A&M. And she has the proper guidance at A&M, and I hope she kind of can wrap it all up into one season, because I think that's all they're going to get her for. So
smart man.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much, Donovan. Good luck. And we'll quickly switch the camera off and do a very quick handover to Rye Benjamin. Be back very soon.
Perfect. Thanks, you guys.